Okay, we are now, oh, let me just get Megan in the room. Sorry, it's taken me a while to kind of get through all this. I was telling everybody that I feel like my left arm is cut off because Amy is no longer in the office, so. It's like, where are the things?
All right, welcome everyone. It's 4 o'clock and we have a quorum, so I'll go ahead and call us to order. Starting with our native land acknowledgement. We meet today on settled indigenous land, which is the traditional territory of the Chinookan peoples of the Wasco, Rishram, Warm Springs, and Grand Ronde tribes. Let us honor this land and its traditional native stewards, past, present, and future, and strive today to embody a commitment to cultural equity and reconciliation, ecological conservation, and sustainability. In this spirit, I hereby call this meeting to order at 4:01 p.m. And also right off the bat, I'd like to make one addition to the agenda. I've been notified that staff would like to present a union contract proposal to the board. And I'd like to add this agenda item after the executive director's report as agenda item 10. This will be an executive session under OR 192-6602D. Could I get a motion to approve that change in addition to the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Thank you. Tia, go ahead and take roll call for us.
And so I apologize. Okay. So we have Laura Dunn, the chair,
Here.
Letty Moretti, vice chair, Daryl Roberts, secretary,
Here.
Megan Larrabee, here, Greg Pack,
Here.
Jeff Helfrich,
Here.
and Megan Ramey.
Here.
I didn't hear, is Megan Larrabee there in the room?
She is, yeah.
Okay, great. Hi, Megan. We'll move on to item 3, approval of the December 15th minutes. Those minutes are in the from the regular meeting on December 15th are in the packet. Are there any other changes that board members would like to make?
So I apologize. We did have a little bit of an issue with the minutes this time, and we just pulled the wrong minutes. So these are the revised minutes and a little more comprehensive than the initial ones you got. That shouldn't happen again. I think it was just an internal error. We had some trouble with Microsoft Share Drive. So I apologize for that, but these are sort of the more extensive minutes.
Are there any questions or concerns about that from the board? Okay, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion. It's Greg.
And is there a second?
Second, Megan.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Thank you. Oh, sorry, were there any opposed? Thank you. So now is the opportunity for public comment regarding a discussion item that's not on the agenda today. Is there anyone here to make a public comment? I don't see any unless Kathy has anything for us.
No, thanks for asking.
Okay, thank you. So then we're on to our December financial report from Teresa Gallucci and our team accounting. Teresa, go ahead.
Hi there. Happy New Year, everyone. Just briefly, our cash position at the end of December was 1.4 million, not a substantial change from the prior months. This is about 312,000 more than last year. Of that amount, 864,000 is in the CIT account. That's the county funded account that the property tax revenue goes in. We've received most of that money now, which is roughly 187,000. So that's about 10,000 more than what than what was budgeted. Grants receivable is at 288,000. The requests for Q2 are being submitted right now, and we'll start seeing the cash coming in from those receivables in the next week or two. Revenue is about half of what we had budgeted at this point. That's because of the buses that were included in the budget and not purchased. Other than that, we are right on target with most of the grants.
So I just want to correct, they were purchased, just not delivered. And so we're being told they probably won't be here this year.
Okay,
We actually have purchased them or have an agreement with them. We just have not received them and can't actually pay for them until we do.
okay. Cost of goods. Overall, we're at 248,000, which is 12,000 less than what we budgeted. Fuel expenses are substantially under the budget, 58,000 under, and preventative maintenance is a little more. So that kind of diluted the overall numbers. Admin expenses are about 2,000 less than budget. Personnel expenses are 37,000 less than budget. So that brings us to net income of 80,000. And while that's a little less than what we had budgeted originally, when compared to last year, we're 27,000 ahead of where we were. So we're in a good position. Does anybody have any questions?
I had a couple.
Okay.
I noticed the fixed assets dropped by 500,000 and something. Did we sell some buses or something?
Yes, but it was last year, and that's the auditor's adjusting entry. So it was for the 2020 financials. If you remember, we don't recognize depreciation or any changes to fixed assets during the year. It's all done by the auditor.
Mm-hmm. So that was a combination of depreciation and sales of assets then.
Yeah.
And current liabilities went up quite a bit from 39,000 to 150,000, and that's under other current liabilities. Do you know what that was all about?
Not off the top of my head, but I would love to do a little research and get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Daryl?
One check. I should probably know who this is, but Carrie Cobb for 11,800. You know what
That's
that was?
marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, she's our marketing expert, PR. So she has done quite a bit of work for us since John Andal left. She helped over the summer to fill in some of the issues that we had when he left.
Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any other questions for Teresa?
I had the exact same ones Daryl did, except for balance sheet stuff, but.
Okay, thank you, Teresa.
Okay.
So on to resolution and action items. Attached in our meeting package, you'll find the CAC applicants. And I think we have at least one more. Patty, go ahead.
Yeah, so Jody Bear, who is a architect, lives on on Taylor Street, and has been engaged in transit and design for a while. She is submitted an application. She would make the 10th member to the CAC. We have not received, so there would still be 2 open positions. We are still actively, we're trying to recruit 2 Hispanic members, so that still leaves that open. If you all know somebody who can represent the Latinx community, we would very much like to know if there's somebody else who can do a good job doing that. We have done quite a bit of outreach to Nextdoor, One Community Health, and some of the other folks to try and find, also to the school district to try and find somebody who might be able to do some representation. So those 2 seats are still open on the CAC. But this would allow you to approve Jody to that position and still have 2 positions open to enhance the diversity of the committee.
Okay, and Jody's application is in the packet.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve Jody to the CAC?
I make a motion to approve Jody and the CAC.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Did we hear from everyone in the room?
Yep.
Okay, are there any opposed? All right, and chair votes aye, so that is approved. And then also in the meeting packet, there's a memo to establish a stipend for the CAC. Patty, could you give us an overview?
Yeah, so this is something that a variety of other organizations are doing around the state, and of course the board itself voted to have a stipend for their role. So the recommendation from staff is to allow for a $30 stipend per committee member for each committee meeting that they attend. That will allow them to potentially cover daycare costs or childcare costs or other types of expense, gas to get here or internet to participate. So we think that allows for and opens up the possibility that folks who are low income or might have some additional elements that might make it difficult to serve in the committee have a little additional resources to do so. The stipend would be about $120 per committee member and would be a total of $1,800 for the duration of the transit master plan update process. So there are 4 meetings. And that is something we can cover through the grant funds that we have for the plan.
Are there any questions about that proposal? Go ahead, Greg.
No, yeah, at first I kind of struggled with it, but then when I think about it, making it available to all and those who may struggle to participate, but we need them on there, I think it's actually a great idea.
Okay, does someone want to make a motion to approve this?
I make a
stipend?
motion to approve the stipend for the CAC members. I think it's very valuable to open up the doors for people that otherwise might not be able to attend.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Chair votes aye, and motion is passed. On to the operations manager report. Ty, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. We got the unmute button working. All right, we'll run through this relatively quickly again. Safety score went up. It says crashes. One, there was not actually a vehicle crash. Again, that's just a reported thing. I just take all this data straight from Samsara. So it was during the transfer of one of the boxes from one vehicle to another, which we should probably have an operations committee meeting about this, because
I should have.
I went back and forth, and I could have changed this to 0, but if I'm changing the data, then there's no real point in me presenting the real data to you guys. So I'm presenting exactly what Samsara is reporting to us.
So what happened, Ty? What?
So they're like basically the size of an iPhone or 2 iPhones stacked together. They're little GPS boxes that go in each one of the vehicles. During the winter, we don't run the motor coaches, and we're running the Gorge to Mountain vehicles instead. Instead of buying new boxes for each vehicle, we just physically transfer those boxes into the other vehicles. During that transfer, they still have power for like 15 to 20 minutes. One of them was mishandled enough that it reported a crash to the system. Amy actually came out and was wondering what happened, because she said the cell phone just got a message saying this vehicle crashed. Like, oh, it's actually like this box that we have in our hand. So there was no crash. It's just that box detected a harsh enough event while we were carrying it around that it thought it was a crash. So as with the next thing, it says 8 harsh events. A lot of those are when we're transferring these boxes, or there's still one vehicle of the 2 new Columbia Gorge Express vehicles that has the box in it, but the box isn't secured properly to the vehicle, so it can move around in the vehicle and think the vehicle is doing something that's a harsh movement.
But you're not like tripping and falling and dropping the box or something. It's just being handled. Makes it,
just being handled, but yes, they are very sensitive to what it considers a harsh movement or a crash.
right, okay.
But no, I don't think anyone fell with it.
Okay, good.
But no, even if you're just like unplugging it and just pulling the plug out of it is going to be enough where it's going to consider if it's mounted to the frame or something solid on the bus. And if the bus did that, it would consider that a crash.
Got it.
We can report that we did have a crash this month. And that was one of our Gorge to Mountain drivers was up at the mountain, and unfortunately it was in the parking lot, and he slid into a couple of employee cars. Luckily they were employee cars, so our insurance is taking care of that. But wasn't a big crash, but we will see it next time.
Yeah, so our next one will have one real, well, actually that happened so slowly, it happened at 1 mile an hour that the software didn't even record it as a crash on that one. Yeah, he was stopped in front of Meadows and dropped all his passengers off and went to pull out going 1 mile an hour and slid for like 4 seconds and barely tapped 2 vehicles. But yeah, so this is probably something that me and the operations committee should have a meeting about and talk about how we want to present this data. Because right now I'm presenting exactly what the computer report puts out. Because if I'm modifying the data, then it's not a realistic thing that I'm presenting. So I'd rather present the real numbers and then explain why they're wrong than just present whatever I want to put on there. So yeah, so there's one real harsh event. It was a harsh braking event. We reviewed it. It was just a vehicle that pulled out kind of, they shouldn't have pulled out so far closely in front of the bus. So there were no reportable harsh events that drivers were written up for. Our drive time increased very slightly. Percentage over the speed limit was relatively similar. Everything else across the board is almost exactly the same. We did have our diesel buses back in service more, so our diesel fuel usage was up over our gas. For the driver of the month, we had a rough end of December and had some people out. We had a lot of people that just covered for everyone, so I didn't give any particular person and just listed every single driver as the driver of the month as everyone stepped up and really covered any shift that they could.
Was that because of COVID that you had people out?
Going as far as the first week of January, we had, besides Amy, there was another driver that their wife was pregnant. So we had 2 people out due to pregnancies. We had some people either with COVID or with family members with COVID, and then just weather and various other ailments, personal issues that caused people to go out. We had a driver that had a booked vacation that before all this happened, they were on vacation, and then everything else snowballed. So a lot of things happened that that shouldn't have happened.
But we kept the service on the road. So just to let you know that Ty and the supervisors, Ty is very humble in saying, but Ty was out driving quite a bit. So were the supervisors, and Amy and I were in the office, and as was Tia in the office, covering the dispatch stuff, because we also did have a couple of folks that did get the Omicron variant and were out for a couple of days. Yeah. So
Yeah, sorry, I guess I should point out that I included both supervisors on the driver of the month list because they were both out driving a decent amount. There were several days where me, Chelsea, and Jeff, all 3 of us were all out driving all day long.
Well, I do want to say that when it appeared that we might be snowbound in our house for a few days, I checked the CAT website and it said that you were functioning as normal in the upper valley. So I was very pleased to see that and surprised too, given the conditions.
Yeah, I was very impressed that we there was one day I thought we might shut down altogether, but we actually ran every single day. We only had 2 drivers show up one day, but it was me and 2 drivers all day long.
Wow. Well, big thanks to all of you who helped make that happen.
Any other questions or anything on that operations report?
What was the customer complaint?
Oh, so the customer complaint was actually while I was driving, which I don't know if I'm the appropriate person to report on that. It was 2 of the people from the warming shelter, which is on Cascade there. They all walk over, they get on at the first stop, or not the first stop. First stop for them is Rite Aid. So we leave CAT, we go to Walmart, we come up, go to Safeway, leave, and then Rite Aid and go up the hill. Pulled up, several of them got on the bus. There's one guy that, I mean, we've done the warming shelter service for years, so I know all these people by name. And there's a new guy that got on the bus, the person who actually made the complaint, and he walks on, gets on, is like, oh, this other guy needs a lift. And the other client sometimes does not prefer to use the lift. So I ask him like, oh, hey, did you want to use it? And he's, oh, it doesn't matter. So I actually get out and am outside the vehicle, and another guy just gets on the stairs of the bus and walks on. And then so I get in and we continue on, and his friend calls in and makes the complaint that we refuse to use the lift for the other passenger.
So we checked the videotape, and Ty's version of events seemed to be consistent. So we did not follow up on that one. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was interesting that the guy that I know that wanted to get on didn't care, but his friend made the complaint.
Yeah, everybody has their bad days, so on we go.
Any other questions for Ty?
I don't know if this is more recommendation. Like, I like the operations report, but when you, and I totally see the value of your reporting, like what the machine said, and then you're going to give a report that's something different. I don't know if there should be, like, now we all know that these little boxes are a little bit not inaccurate. But if someone were just to look at this, they would be like, well, and then I'd have to look at this with the minutes, I imagine. I don't know if we could put a little like asterisk, like FYI, there was not a real crash.
Yeah, no, we can certainly do that. I think it's a good
It
point.
gets confusing.
It
Yeah,
is
no,
confusing.
I agree, and that's what I was saying with, I think we should have an operations committee meeting where I'd like Daryl and Jeff and everyone else's opinion on what they would actually like to see, because this is basically just what I put together. And if you guys want something different, then we'll put together something different.
I mean, I completely understand that you're reporting just accurately what the machine says, but clearly the machine, because every time you have to explain it's like this machine, this box that we walk around with, and it basically inaccurately reports certain things.
Yeah, no, there's definitely situations like, oh, if we're moving them between vehicles and one reports a crash, then it's not. But if I'm just cleansing the data myself, then I don't feel like it's, we want some level of consistency somewhere. So I don't know if we want somebody else to review it or.
I think you need to just put like a footnote saying, this is the data report, but this is the actual review of the data, like once things are investigated.
Yeah.
So-
Okay.
That might be, go ahead.
The one thing I would say is that, so a tie is the one that investigates the event, and then the tie is the event, it go up to like Patty or Amy, and Amy takes over just to take the event, and that way it just shows transparency, and there's no shenanigans going on, and we can say that the shenanigans is there, and it alleviates what Ty is talking about, washing out the data, and it's just an asterisk within or a footnote within the body of the, or at the bottom of the page what that was.
I think that's a good idea. And I was just thinking in relationship to all the complaints too, that we can let you know whether we've I mean, any complaint we receive, we actually investigate, so we can let you know whether it was a valid complaint or not.
Yeah, which is also the same thing for any of those harsh events. Anything that's reported, it's either myself and a supervisor or myself and one of the safety committee members, which is two of the longest tenured drivers. We review them together and then determine if it's something that's worth pursuing.
Hey, on the ridership report, I think we were just at one point just asking for a rolling 13. Sorry, I just had some nuts. A rolling 13, you know, just kind of like December to December, so we could look back. It seems like this thing is just getting bigger and bigger. Or are we just adding on to it, or is it?
Yeah, we can definitely start to drop off the old ones.
Okay. I just don't want you guys creating this massive thing. I think what the board wanted just to do the 13, so we could look back at the previous year that same month.
And yeah, I'll just do it so it automatically hides the rows, so they'll still be there, so people can unhide them and look at them, but then they're just hidden.
Okay.
And I think what we also will let the board know is that we are going to be posting all of these ridership numbers for multiple years on the website. So if there is a point at which you want to check back further, you can always do that. All right, Laura, I think we're done.
Okay, so we'll move to the Transit Master Plan update, and Chris Watchie is here to report on that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a couple of comments. As you heard, it sounded, we had quite the January. Quite a few staff were out, and a lot of staff who needed to work on the existing conditions report were not able to because they were out driving. So we had hoped to have a copy of the existing conditions report in draft format by today. We are missing some elements of that, so we pushed it back a month, which means we're also pushing back the first technical advisory committee and the community advisory committee. We have most of the data. We're now just finalizing the maps, and we do expect to be able to meet the new deadline. It was a perfect culmination of events that kept us from making it this time. So apologize for that. Chris and Amy have steadily moved forward on the public engagement plan. They also are running a little bit behind in getting the survey out. And so I'm going to give it over to Chris to kind of give an overview of what's been done and where we are.
Hey, hello, everyone. I last met you in October and gave kind of an overview of our game plan of moving forward and developing the public engagement plan, as well as some of the key components. And since that time, I'm just going to do a quick little checklist. The CAC and TAC recruitment happened. Application was posted, and as Patty noted, we have 10 members right now, and there's 2 more members plus 3 board members. So we have that 15-member citizen advisory committee. We've also developed a project fact sheet, bilingual project fact sheet, as well as the draft PEP, which public involvement plan or public engagement plan, excuse me, which you have in your packet. And I'll talk about that in just a wee moment. But I wanted to highlight some of the footwork that's happened. And Amy was working right up to the very moment, I think, that her new beautiful babe arrived. And she and I and Patty have been doing a series of stakeholder interviews, which we suggested doing at the beginning of this process so we could really understand to learn and affirm if our proposed outreach methods were going to reach intended audiences, and then what do we need to do differently. And it has been a trove of information from the library, from One Community Health, from the Hood River County School District. We're meeting with the chamber next week, and there's about another 10 stakeholder interviews that we've done. So that's really helping us develop strategies that work really well, and then that are geographically specific and not just a blanket kind of a template that's put down. It's actually tailored to particular communities, such as how do you reach farm workers? How do you reach youth? What's the best way to engage the business community? So these are the kind of we've gleaned from these interviews. So those will be contained in what we're calling local outreach plans that really deal with those 5 map areas that are in the PEP. We are in the process of finalizing the survey questions and working with the platform that we're using is called Bang the Table. Sounds very Khrushchev, but it's actually an extremely accessible online tool that many jurisdictions use, and it has a mapping component in it as well. So that's for folks who have computer access, and that'll be bilingual on Bang the Table. For those who don't, this is where our key partners come in to help us. We'll be doing hard copy surveys or providing iPads to folks who may interview folks that are hard to reach or underrepresented voices. So that's all coming together, and we're right now it's just the technical logistics of building out the platform and the website. And so we're just a little bit behind on that. I would say we'll probably be up and running in about 2 weeks, definitely before the end of February, but 2 to 3 weeks. I want to give us a little buffer there. And I just, as a caveat, there is a lot of positive enthusiasm for this plan and appreciation for being reached out to how to engage other voices throughout Hood River County. So I'm going to pause there just for a moment and see if there's any comments on the draft public engagement plan, or you have any questions about what we've done to date. I believe the plan, Patty, is that you'll be seeing my face pretty much at every board meeting to give you an update of where we are, just brief, and see if you have any questions.
Yeah, so Chris is really going to help to fill in on Amy's role on this while Amy is gone, and then we'll hand the reins back to Amy once she's back in the saddle. Wow, that was I was even consistent in my metaphors at that point. Sorry.
Any comments or questions or anything that jumps out? If you've had a chance to review the public engagement plan, and if not, by all means, when you do have a chance to, please reach out to Patty or me.
I just have one nitpicky thing about your geographic maps. On it's page 28 of the board packet. So I don't know what page that is for you, but it shows the regions of the engagement plan, and number 1 doesn't have this is me as a sorry, nerd cartographer, doesn't have the Y East glob on it. And I don't know.
So is the Odell and lower Highway 35?
Yeah.
I think, Patty, do you want to talk a little bit? These were kind of maps that were revised right before we put it into the board packet, but I think there's some additional maps that are being developed that will be in place of these. So is it safe to say, Patty, these are placeholders until the other maps are completed?
Oh. Yeah.
Figure
no,
one, it
I
doesn't
see
have
what
the.
you're saying. I don't know how that happened. I think it was just, that was, yeah. So.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Yeah, it's just a outline that's missing.
outline
Oh, I
is
see,
missing, yes. Yeah, no, there's definitely, I was like, what is she talking about? Totally get it. Yes, no, there definitely is an outline that's missing there. And I will just say that I drew these little maps because we've been having some trouble with our the mapping consultant. They had a glitch with their computer and haven't been able to work on the maps in the timely fashion. They're back. They now have their system back up and running and are working on it diligently. So yeah, both Hood River and on Odell, that should look like the county.
I don't think that's
Megan, for
nitpicky
making
at all.
that comment. I
Thank
didn't
you.
catch that.
Good catch. Can you just clarify, are the board members who are part of the TMP to attend both the TAC and the CAC meetings, or just CAC?
Just the CAC.
Okay.
Staff will be the technical liaison. for the-
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
The current board members are Laura, Letty, and Megan. Megan Ramey. Sorry.
That's okay.
But there is always room for other board members. So if you'd like to be part of there will be 4 total. And if you are interested in the planning process, we recommend that you attend the CAC, because you will only get a briefing at the board meeting and not the thorough sort of in-depth review from staff at the CAC. So just so you know. But everybody will be welcome, and we will, we have all those dates now set, and we'll be inviting, letting the board and the CAC members know when they are.
Okay, I wanted to add, looking through the stakeholder interviews, and it looks like a really great conglomeration of people, but I don't know if it will be the Chamber of Commerce or something to represent businesses, like maybe larger employees. I know you've got the school district, but whether it's Providence or Meadows, or, because if we're looking at how to help the community and people that live here, that we're going to use this transit system, and maybe a fruit company. I actually don't know what the largest employers are, like the top 5 in the area, but.
Or is there like a downtown business association or something to that effect?
So we are meeting with the chamber coming up this next week. And this is just an initial list when we put this. We do have Mount Hood Meadows on our list to follow up with, but definitely as a key, thinking about different interests and stakeholder groups, businesses, and the economic development of Hood River County is critical. So yes, we will be reaching out. And again, these stakeholder interviews are really just to understand the communication conduits of how best to reach businesses, how best to reach youth, how best to.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Thank
think yeah, did you mention One Community Health and Providence?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think we didn't, I'm just looking at the list here. I don't think Providence was on that list, but certainly having a conversation with them is great. That won't be a problem.
And In Situ, has been one of our partners. So I think we would still consider them a stakeholder in that sense
So-
too.
And again, I think I need to clarify that that's not just the people
Exhaust.
we're reaching out to.
Yeah, okay.
We're just doing initial interviews to
I
how
see.
do we reach out to the masses? And I think if you look on page 11 of the plan, I'm sorry, I don't know what it is in the board packet, but we do have employers listed in the audiences and example
Okay.
stakeholders.
Thank
So
you.
Yeah, and I think we've already reached out to Institute and they've made it clear that if we have a survey, online survey, they're happy to send that out to everybody. So I think both of us would like to enhance and improve the transit system to meet what their needs are. Because they're changing.
Okay, any other questions about this piece of work or for Chris?
hey, I look forward to updating you in February about where we are.
Great, thank you so much. It looks
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to the executive director report from
Yeah.
Patty.
I'm just gonna go through this quickly. We have several upcoming grant applications. Several of them will be due in February and then a couple more in March. Most of them are discretionary funds. We have a large capital grant, which is called the 5339 grant. We will be applying for the transfer center with in partnership with the port for to enhance that as a downtown transit center area in the lot 1 area. In addition, we are collecting and probably Ty will be meeting with the operations committee to go over what our vehicle needs are. We also will be asking for some grant funds either through this 5339 grant or through the CARES Act fund for a new set of fare boxes. The current set is very, very old and it's hard to get the money in and out. So we're looking to upgrade that. We've also heard that there's quite a bit of CARES Act funds that are left over. We have approached the state about what will be allowed to be applied for. There is some administrative funds, which we will be looking to ask for some funding for, which may be able to cover some of the costs, the costs of the initial driver wage increases. In addition, we're also thinking about other capital, smaller capital and IT projects that will make a difference. So as that comes forward, if you have specific things that you'd like to see, let us know and we can see what we can do to find out dollar figures and apply for those as well. We expect that to increase. There will be another grant application for low and no low electric and other vehicles, which we likely will also apply for. So those are sort of on our list as things that we want to look into. The other thing is we are going to have to approve a supplemental budget. If we do approve the union contract, there will be some staffing increases. Of course, we did not include the Gorge to Mountain service in our initial budget. We do now have the numbers that the state will provide us and our own numbers to increase that. So there will be some staff changing, a little bit changing to operating staff. And then our bus maintenance has been higher. We were expecting vehicles to be delivered. Well, we've been expecting them since June of this year. We don't think that they're likely to come this year at all. And Ty, correct me if I'm wrong.
Everybody
So-
I've reached out to is not expecting vehicles that they expected delivered in 2020 for the next 18 months, including TriMet, BART, Whatcom, anybody I've talked to on the West Coast.
So, so we do think we have had some significant maintenance costs. We are almost at the budget threshold as of right now. So we will be coming back to you and asking for a supplemental increase to enhance our maintenance budget to make sure that we can keep those vehicles on the road. So those are the two major staffing supplemental items. There also will be likely a request for an additional for marketing as well. Yeah, so yeah, I'm done. Laura?
Okay, so no motion or action needed right now.
No, not right now.
Brace ourselves. Okay, thank you. We don't have any discussion items on the agenda, so no, we're not going to upcoming events yet. We're going to executive session at this point. We're going to executive session per OR 192-662D to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations. At this point, I'll ask Amy, Ty, and members of the public to leave. We are budgeting how long for this discussion?
Probably about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on, so.
Okay, so,
I get to stay though, right?
Yeah.
right, Ty, I'm sorry, I named you Ty, but you're allowed to stay because you've been leading the negotiations. But members of the public can join, go to the waiting room and rejoin us when we exit executive session. Members of the press may also stay on the line.
Okay, if you want to call us back into session.
All right, we're exiting the executive session under per OR 192-662D and re-entering the general meeting. And do we have a motion to approve the labor contract?
Making a motion to approve the 2022 labor negotiation contract between the union that represents the drivers and CAT.
Thank you. Could I have a second?
I second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. It is passed. Okay, great. Congratulations.
Thank you. We'll try and have that done by the 1st of February, and then wage rates would increase 1st of February.
Excellent. There are no discussion items on the agenda, so on to upcoming events. Patty, go ahead.
Just again, we had really hoped to.
Sorry,
get
can I
this
say
done-
one thing?
Sure.
Yes.
Can we not do 1st of February, but the beginning of the next payroll period, just for,
Yes.
okay.
Do that.
You're welcome, you're welcome, Tia. Okay, sorry.
Well, yeah, so as I mentioned, the TAC and the CAC are being pushed back a month. We will update that on our calendar. The first TAC is likely to be the 24th, and the first CAC is likely to be March 10th. So it's just shy of a month pushback, but we feel confident that it will provide a better product overall. So we're excited about that, and yeah. And then I think Ty will be probably reaching out to the folks on the operations committee to establish a committee meeting to talk about capital requests and as part of the 5339 grant.
I have all kinds of fun operation committee things.
Okay, that completes our business on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve adjournment?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Could I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, and the meeting is adjourned at 5:04 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Right.